on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I thought I already played this. Let's see. The lack of action, Queen Amidala took matters into her own hands. She returned to Naboo and persuaded the Gungans to help fight the droid invasion. However, the Trade Federation weren't the only enemy afoot. In the palace, mysterious, pointy Sith Darth Maul once again confronted the Jedi, dueling for their fates. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fought valiantly, but despite being victorious, Qui-Gon was struck down. Obi-Wan pledged to his master that he would continue Anakin's training in his stead. Meanwhile, the Gungan army prepare for their final stand. I can't even see the rest of it at this point. Hello, ESF Lego Man, what's going on? Those Ahsoka episodes were pretty bad, huh? That's what I'm here to talk about today, because, I really didn't like those episodes. I thought they sucked. I thought it was not a good, strong start to the show at all. Really wasn't. I really don't know what to say. I like from the get-go, like what was it? So they had like an opening crawl thing. Like they did the opening crawl, but I guess if anyone's watching this and you haven't seen Ahsoka and you care to watch it, then don't watch the stream because it's gonna be like kind of spoiler heavy. But like it starts and they have like the red but because it's not like at an angle. It's just like normal, like I don't know. Really cliche font text, kind of uninteresting.
But I've just received some new data.
And it's just like, okay, so the lady, the magistrate from the Mandalorian was apparently a Night Sister the whole time. They totally made that up, because that wasn't a thing in Mando Season 2. They made that up. And, she gets broken out of jail, or, like, broken off this transport ship by these two mysterious Sith people, or whatever. The Inquisitor seems interesting. I don't know, and he just seems like a generic background guy. I don't really know what his purpose is. Like, they introduced all these characters that they never established at all before in canon. And they have all these storylines they could pull from, like the Thrawn books and all this. But they're just like, oh yeah, he had this Night Sister that he worked with all the time that you never heard about. Like, they just made that up. And they're just ripping off Fallen Order, too, because they're like, oh, so that whole plotline about Merrin being the only surviving Night Sister, let's just rip that off, too. That's just lazy. Like, but, like, the setup of the first episode, like, so they're on the transport ship. This captain lets these guys board the ship because they have an old Jedi clearance code. If these Jedi people, as they find out later, this Balin Skull guy, whatever the hell his name is, was around during the Clone War, and this is the new government, the new Republic, like, why would they even have, like, old clearance codes like that still in operation? Like, that wouldn't be a clearance code at that point. Like, that made no sense. They were just like, oh, we'll let you board the ship because the captain wants to, like, insult them to their face. And then, of course, he gets killed. But it's like, this is the second time it's happened in these shows where, like a character has just escaped. Like, remember in Mando Season 3 where they're like, oh, Moff Gideon never made it to trial. He just got broken out of jail and, like, no one investigated it at all except for the one X-Wing pilot who found out that he was, like, broken out of this transport ship. Like, how is the New Republic so bad at its job that they keep letting these, like, some of the most dangerous warlord criminal people in the galaxy get broken out of jail? Like, why can't they do their jobs? Like, and we're meant to root for them too, because we got people like Hera working for them and all this. But like, how is the Ahsoka episodes, Mr. Matty? As you might be able to tell by my rant my tirade I'm going on right now, they were not good. We're not good, man. It's quite, I would say disappointing, but, like, I had reserved expectations for the show after Mando Season 3 just wasn't very good, in my opinion, like, at all. And, like, they just, like, the thing is, I saw people reviewing these episodes, or reviewing the show, like, early, saying, if you're a fan of Rebels, I can't see how you won't like this. Well, I'll tell you firsthand. I'm a fan of Rebels. I rewatched all 4 seasons of that show a couple months ago. Love it. It's a freaking awesome show. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, like, basically take a dump on everything I liked about Rebels. Like, the characters, like Sabine, is unbearable. Like, she's an unbearable character now. She's like, oh, all I care about is saving Ezra and all this, and she's just sulking around in Ezra's house. She's just like crying about Ezra all the time, but is meanwhile doing nothing to try and save him. Like, what is your character, Sabine? I don't understand what you're trying to do. It's just, it's not good. It's not good at all. Like the whole setup of it. They just made up like these Jedi guys or whatever, like this Balin Skull. What's his name? I don't even know. It's just not interesting. Like this guy's like lame, and he's got this apprentice or whatever. Yeah. As you're saying, Mr. Matty, Qui-Gon's death, or sorry, ESF Lego Man. Qui-Gon's death means nothing, because like people keep getting stabbed in the chest or in the gut with lightsabers, and it doesn't do anything. Like, I can't believe we've gotten to the point in Star Wars where, like, when a character gets stabbed in the stomach with a laser sword, I can't believe, like, when I see that, I'm like, they're not gonna be dead, they're fine. Like, I can't believe we've gotten to that point where someone gets stabbed with a lightsaber, and my gut reaction, my instant reaction is, they're fine. Like, what the heck? How have we gotten to this point? Like, no one will ever die in Star Wars anymore. Between that and like the force healing thing that they only used like once or twice because it was like convenient for the plot or whatever, like they've just Han probably didn't die from Kylo's lightsaber. Yeah, you're right. He probably just fell down. You know what? He probably didn't even die from falling down the bottomless chasm. He probably just landed, was on some like, I don't know, cotton candy, and was like, "Oh, I'm fine, guys." But then, like, they blew up Starkiller Base, and he just imploded. That's probably what happened. He probably didn't... The fall didn't even kill him. That's probably what happened. Because, you know, these characters in Star Wars, they never get killed by falling from extreme heights. Darth Maul, Palpatine. But, yeah. Like, the whole... So what happens after that opening where the guys, like, attack the ship? Ahsoka goes to some planet, like, where she's, like, getting the, this map thing that they made up. You're right about that too, ESF Lego Man, we were talking about that. Why does Thrawn have a map to his location? Like, it's the same thing like they did in the sequels, where they were like, there's a map to Luke Skywalker, and everyone's trying to find it. And then in the next movie, Luke's like, how did you find me? I didn't want to be found. And it's like, dude, why did you leave a map to your location? That makes no sense. If you didn't want to be found, why did you leave a map to where you were? Like... It's like they keep doing this thing where it's like these people have maps to where they are, and it's like, why though? It doesn't make any sense. It's like they just keep doing this. It's so dumb. You swear to God, if they bring Tech back, yeah, man, I'll be pissed if they bring Tech back from the dead or something. Like, they need to stop with this resurrecting people thing. It's just like, I don't know what they're doing with the show. Like, and then what was even like, Ahsoka gets attacked by the droids or whatever after she gets the map out of this Indiana Jones like looking temple place, and then like these droids start self-destructing, and there's 2 of them, and they're relatively small droids, right? Like, how much damage can they do? She's running away, calling in the droid in the ship. She's like, "Come save me! I'm gonna blow up." And I'm like, how much damage can these things do? They blow up and cause, like, an atomic bomb level, like, Death Star level explosion on the planet's surface. How? How do these 2 droids cause, like, a nuclear explosion, like, atom bomb? Like, that made no sense. And then the droid, too, what's his name? Hugh Yang or whatever from Clone Wars? He's just there. Like, they don't explain how, when, why, where Ahsoka found him. Like, they don't, none of that is ever explained. It's just like he's back now, even though last time you saw him was in Clone Wars, and it's presumed that he would have been, like, killed, you know, in the Purge or whatever. I don't know. You'd probably throw your remote at the TV if they bring Tech. Yeah, I mean, I would too, man. I would not be happy if they keep bringing these guys back from the dead. But, like, it's just... Whatever, this whole thing is, like... Ahsoka goes off to see Hera, they kind of just have a scene where they just recap what happened in Rebels, if you haven't watched it. And then they're like, the only person you could possibly take this map to is Sabine. And I'm like, why? There are like numerous people in the galaxy who can like decode maps and crap. But what's even funnier is later when they show Sabine like decoding the map or whatever, it's literally just like a Rubik's Cube or something. Like it's like a, it's not a cube, it's like a circular shape. My mom called it the golden snitch when we were watching it. But like, all she does is turn a couple pieces on this golden ball, and then it like works. And it's like, literally anyone could just keep turning the pieces on that thing until it works. Like, they didn't need to get Sabine. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You just keep twisting the parts, it'll eventually, like, work, right? Or it'll eventually come together. Like, Ahsoka could have just done that for a couple hours and figured it out. Like, they didn't even need Sabine to do it, but they were just like, no, there's no one else they could possibly get except Sabine. And then, even the Sith people are like, oh, go to Lothal, because she's totally gone to go to Sabine with this map. Why? Like, why does everyone think Sabine is the only person who, like, Ahsoka would possibly take this thing to? Like, of all people, no, Sabine is the only one. She's totally the only person who can decode this map. Like, in the entire galaxy, I guess. Like, anyone could decode that thing. I'm surprised the frickin' droid couldn't do it. No, we gotta go to Sabine now. And like, there's that weird scene where Sabine is running away from the... Here's the thing. I actually liked, they showed, what's his name, Governor Azadi, and like a bunch of the characters from Rebels, Jai Kell as well. I think they say Jai Kell is a senator now. And like, I watched Rebels. I know those characters. So I was, and it's the same actor who voiced Azadi in Rebels too. I was like, oh, that's cool that they actually included those characters. But the scene that they're showing them in is like so stupid, where Sabine doesn't show up to the ceremony honoring Ezra, essentially, because Ezra isn't there, even though he left a message for her saying, you know, I had to make the tough choice as a Jedi. And it's like, shouldn't you respect his choice, like the choice that he made to self-sacrifice? Like, respect his choice and move on. Like, there's literally a scene in the second episode where the droid guy's just like, the past is the past, like, move on, dude. Like, why doesn't, like, I did not understand why she didn't want to show up to the ceremony that was literally honoring her friend, who, like, sacrificed himself to save the planet. And then, whatever, Ahsoka comes back, and they just make up that they had this great bond or whatever, and Ahsoka was training Sabine and all this, and it's just dumb. Like, you can't tell me that these characters had some relationship off-screen that you never showed, ever. Like, you can't just... I hate when they do this in any media, where they're like, this big thing happened off-screen, and you never saw it. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone watching this who's seen Rebels, do Sabine and Ahsoka ever interact in Rebels? Do they have a single conversation in that show? I don't think they do. I think they made up that these guys had some history where Ahsoka trained her and she was her apprentice and all this. They just made that up to have this stupid relationship that makes no sense, where Ahsoka's being an idiot. Like, she gives Sabine the map, says, don't leave, and then Sabine, of course, leaves, and then Ahsoka's like, oh my god, how dare she leave with the magic map that I gave her? Like, of course she's gonna do that. Like, are you an idiot? Like, they all seem like idiots. And whatever, Sabine decodes the map, the bad guys show up and attack her, and rather than, like, going, like, they literally show her going into her house, they show her Mandalorian helmet in the foreground of the shot. I was like, oh, okay, so she's gonna put her armor on and go and face them, right? No. Picks up Ezra's lightsaber, goes out in a shirt to fight this Sith lady, and obviously gets, like, beaten up. Like what did you think was gonna happen? She even admits in the next episode that she's not very well trained. Like, Sabine's an idiot. And then Ahsoka's even more of an idiot for not going there to back up Sabine. Like, she like tried to get there or whatever, and by the time she gets there, Sabine's like basically already dead. Imagine they show that in Tales of the Jedi. Oh my god, you're right, they could, couldn't they? Because Sabine's gonna be a Jedi, right? They're just gonna be like, oh, the Tales of Sabine. That would be dumb, man. That would be really stupid. But you're right, they could possibly do that. But who knows? I guess since they started, they stopped funding the animation studio, right? That does Clone Wars stuff, so maybe after Bad Batch Season 3, we won't be getting a lot more of Star Wars animation, which would suck, because it's the only, like, real quality, like, aspect of Star Wars right now, aside from Andor and the Jedi video games. But, like, gosh darn it, that like, frickin' thing where Sabine just goes out there, like an idiot, with nothing but Ezra's lightsaber, ill-trained, going up against essentially a Sith warrior, assassin person, and it, like, you're right, they could have just done something where, whatever, what's the Sith lady's name? I don't even remember her name, but, like, they could have done something where she disables her temporarily, like, cuts her knee or something like that, right? Takes her out of the fight, doesn't kill her. But they literally give her a mortal wound. The episode ends on this Shin Hati. Okay, so Shin could have just cut Sabine's shin. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have to have her stab her in the stomach with a lightsaber. Like, but they did. And then they try to make it the big cliffhanger ending of the episode. Oh no, she got knocked out. She's dead. No, like, she's not. It's the first episode. Obviously, the, like, secondary protagonist who actually feels like she's becoming the main protagonist is, whatever, like, dead. Like, it's really dumb. And, like, the fact that it has no real impact on the story, like, they give you this big moment where Sabine gets stabbed, and it doesn't matter at all. Like, in the next episode, she wakes up like nothing happened, like, oh, ow. Ouch, that hurt. That stung a little, but I'm back in the game. Like, what the heck? Like, it's, like, so stupid. Like, you're right that it's not quite as unbelievable as the whole thing where Reva traveled across the galaxy after getting stabbed with no medical attention. But here's the thing. In Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon's lying on the ground for a couple minutes, like, before, like, as Obi-Wan is fighting Maul, and then he gives his last testament to Obi-Wan before he dies, and then, like, that's it. Like, so that's, like, at least a minute and a half where Qui-Gon was able to stay alive after getting stabbed by a lightsaber. There's no way, like, after Ahsoka showed up, she got there in time to take Sabine back to the city to get her medical attention, like, get her wound treated. There's no way she'd survive long enough. Like, I guess they have the stupid line in the episode where Sabine's like, I'm resilient, just like this droid, or whatever, and that's how I survived getting stabbed in the gut with a frickin' lightsaber. But it's just ridiculous. Like, I could not believe when I saw that in the episode. I was like, are they doing this shit again? With the getting stabbed in the stomach and surviving? Like, what is this? What is this show? Like, I couldn't believe they actually had the gall to do that. Like, it's embarrassing, honestly. I was so pissed about this stupid getting stabbed in the stomach thing. Like, happens again. Like, at least in Obi-Wan, like, I don't get me wrong, I think Obi-Wan's a bad show, too. But they tried to have a reason for Reva surviving by being like, she was mad or whatever, because the Grand Inquisitor was like, anger kept me alive or whatever. But that's stupid too, because Reva, like, after giving up her anger, still stays alive. So that doesn't make sense either. Like, I'm not saying that Obi-Wan has better writing, or is even remotely good at all. All I'm saying is they tried to have some... the reason why they had Reva survive was stupid, but at least they tried to have a reason. Sabine has no reason for surviving, other than the fact that she's resilient, or whatever that stupid line was. Like... it's just so dumb, man. Like, that was unbelievably stupid. And then the fact that, like, correct me if I'm missing something, but in the first episode, yeah, that's true. Reva got stabbed twice. Once as a child and once as an adult. That is, you're right about that. That's dumb on so many levels. But, like, so what was the thing about Ahsoka goes back to Sabine's house, I guess technically Ezra's house that Sabine is now occupying, and finds one of the droids. It jumps down from the ceiling, she slices it and goes, I hoped you were still here, or something like that. Wasn't there only 2 droids? Like, Sabine takes out one of the droids, and the other one takes off with the map and leaves with, what's her name, Shin or whatever. So, where did this 3rd droid come from? Was there a third droid that they never showed? Like, what was that? She was like, I'd hoped you were still here. Like, what were you... She said there were two, and she disabled one. The other one got away. Why is there a third droid? Like, am I missing something? Am I an idiot? Or is the droid that was still in Sabine's house the one that she shot, and it just didn't get disabled? Like, it was still operational after she shot it. Is that what the implication of that was? Because I thought that didn't make any sense, that there was, like, another droid there. That they got... They accessed its memory banks and found out it got commissioned at Corellia. And then they went there, or whatever. They had to go to Corellia. Here's another stupid thing. If they were sending anybody to Corellia, like, let's just assume that the characters from the original trilogy are a part of the New Republic. Why would they not be? If they are, why would they not contact Han Solo about that? Because he lives, like, on Corellia. I'm just saying. Like, Corellia is his home planet. He spent years living in the criminal underworld of Corellia. I think he'd know a thing or two about the shipyards and who had been running operations there. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't they contact Han about that? Assuming he's part of the New Republic. There's no reason to believe he wouldn't be, since he was in Legends. Why would he not be in canon? Where's Han? Like, it feels like they're... Where's anybody from the originals? Like, in the trailer for Ahsoka, and I'm assuming she's gonna show up later, there's Mon Mothma's there, right? So why would Han and Leia... Like, where are they? Are they not there? Like, they're trying to ignore the characters, like, the OG characters. But it doesn't make sense. Like, they have to be brought into this somehow. There's no way that they're just like, okay, Ahsoka is the only one doing anything. And what he's doing in the story, like... So here's what they established in these shows. Mando goes to Ahsoka, says, hey, Ahsoka, I need you to help me. And she's like, okay, let's do this, like, exchange of like, terms. Like, you help me with this, I'll help you with your issue with Grogu or whatever. She lies to him, doesn't help him out, then tells him to go to this temple where they might be able to communicate with somebody through the Force, who ends up being Luke. Luke shows up on the light cruiser, where Moff Gideon is located, doesn't ask anything about what's happening, what this Imperial operation is, who this criminal warlord is on this ship. He just takes Grogu. If Luke is working with the New Republic, why wouldn't he arrest Moff Gideon while he was there? Who arrested Moff Gideon? Was it Gina Carano's character? Because she's a marshal for the New Republic, but she doesn't exist anymore because Gina Carano got fired, I guess. So, she arrested Gideon, I'm going to assume. If so, why didn't she recognize Luke? And if Ahsoka is also working for the New Republic, which I'm guessing because they say that she handed, what's her name, Morgan Elsbeth, over to the New Republic. So if she did, why did she not know who Luke was when Mando came to visit her? Did she only find out who Luke was after handing over Elsbeth? Like, if she knew about Luke, she would have told Mando to take Grogu directly to him, because he's building a Jedi Academy. Or is his secret Jedi Academy not known to the New Republic? Is that something the New Republic is aware of? Or is he keeping it secret? Either way, Ahsoka knows about it because she was there in the Book of Boba Fett for no reason. Why was she there? When did she have time to take a detour to go chill with Luke at his random Jedi Academy that he's constructing? Between all of this, whatever, interrogating Morgan Elsbeth, taking her to the New Republic, like, going looking for this map to Thrawn, when did she have time to go say hi to Luke, who she shouldn't know exists? When did this happen? Like, that's the thing. Does Luke work for the New Republic? Or is he just doing his own thing? Like, it's so poorly... These aspects of world building are so poorly developed. Like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, is Luke connected to these guys? Do the New Republic have anything to do with Luke and his whole thing? Just imagine if Hera's child is Force sensitive. Maybe he will be. I don't know. Frickin', what's his name? Jason Syndulla. I don't know. To be honest, Hera was the only character I wasn't pissed off about in the show. Like, she was the only character that I was like, okay, she's kind of acting like she did in Rebels. Like, she didn't feel inconsistent. I guess Mary Elizabeth Winstead did an okay job. But, like, Sabine was assassinated. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but did they imply that Ahsoka tortured Elsbeth, the Night Sister lady? Because when Hera asks, how did you get her to talk, she says, through non-Jedi methods or something. So Ahsoka Tano, the great war hero, is now torturing people to get information. Are you freaking kidding me? Ahsoka Tano, the same person who wouldn't hurt the clones who were actively trying to murder her during Order 66, is now torturing people for information? Is that what they're implying in this show, where she's meant to be the hero? She's the protagonist. And she's torturing people? Like, I'm sorry. I think they have no idea what they're doing. She could have used a mind trick, but if Elsbeth is a Night Sister, would she not be able to resist that? Because the Night Sister's like, that's the thing, is I think the only reason they wrote in the fact that she's a Night Sister is because they wanted to explain how she was able to actually hold up in a fight against Ahsoka, because it made no sense that she was actually able to stand up against Ahsoka in Mando. So they just wrote in that she's a Night Sister. Did she, like, I'm assuming that she would be able to frickin', whatever. Oh, I just shocked that thing in the butt. But, but like, I don't even know what, because, like, you know how in Clone Wars, like, Anakin had to use, like, really extreme methods on Poggle the Lesser or whatever to get information out of him? Like, he was basically borderline torturing that guy to get information out of him. Like, and he wasn't even Force sensitive, I don't believe. So, oh, I shocked my own buddy there. Like, what is going on with this? What is going on with the show? Like, so Ahsoka, like, they keep doing this with all the characters. Like, Ahsoka in all these shows has been assassinated, right? In Mando, she's murdering people, like, doesn't follow up on her commitment to Mando that she will train Grogu in exchange for his help. She tells him not only that, she shows up in Book of Boba Fett for no reason to tell him that he can't visit Grogu, despite the fact that her entire reason for leaving the Jedi Order is because she disagreed with their principles of not believing in attachments or whatever. And now, not only is she murdering people again, because she kills a bunch of Imperial people or whatever on the shipyard in Corellia, but she also presumably tortured someone to get information out of them. Like, this is the character, like, I'm just imagining people watching these shows as someone who hasn't seen, like, Clone Wars, Rebels, the other shows. If you're walking into this as a completely new audience member, this is the character you're presented with? This is Ahsoka Tano, the great heroine of this story? Like, are you serious? Like, I am an Ahsoka fan, man. Like, people, like, if people think I'm not an Ahsoka fan, like, obviously you can't see me right now, but I have an Ahsoka shirt. Like, I actually have an Ahsoka, like, t-shirt on right now. That's how much of a fan I am, okay? The fact, like, I'm pissed off in how they've handled her character. I wonder how Dave ruined his own character. Yeah, I know, right? Like, what the frick is happening? Like, it's actually infuriating. And, like, here's the thing. No offense to Rosario Dawson, I think she's a good actress, but the way she's playing her in the show is like a plank of wood. Like, when did Ahsoka's personality become nothing? Like, she has no personality at all. Like, there were a few moments in Mando where she, like, her old personality shined through. Like, what was the moment where she tells Mando, what does Mando say? He's like, this is the first time Grogu's listened to me or something, and she's like, I like firsts. Good or bad, they're always memorable. I like that line. That seems kind of in character for Ahsoka. Like, that feels like an Ahsoka line, you know what I'm saying? Like, Ahsoka in this show is just, like, a total dumbass, and she's a borderline, like maniac. Like she's torturing people and murdering people. Like, they could do something like they did with Maul and Solo. With, oh, like, you mean for Ahsoka? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it might honestly have pissed me off more if they had Ashley Eckstein's voice in there. Like, if they had her voicing the character and like they ruined her. Like, at least the fact that it's played and voice destroying everything about this character. Like, say that Rosario's version of Ahsoka is like a different character. Like, she's a different multiverse version of her or something. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can just the best of what she's given, but what she's been given is like nothing. She's been given nothing to work with except for garbage. And same with what's her name, Natasha Leo Bordizzo as Sabine. Like, I think she was decent casting too, but Sabine is like so annoying. Like, she's unbearable. Like I said, I can't stand Sabine's character in this show. Like, she's like, oh, I gotta help Ezra. All I care about is Ezra, but then she's also, you know, basically disregarding his sacrifice, like disregarding his choice, not respecting his choice that he made to, you know, sacrifice himself to save the world. Like, I really don't know what they're doing. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but what they're suggesting is that everything that happened in Mando, Boba Fett, this show, like, is before the scene at the end of Rebels, because at the end of the second episode, they almost shot for shot recreate the ending of Rebels, where she's looking at the mural, and they take off, or like, they take off in search of Ezra. So, everything that happened in these shows up until this point is preceding the ending of Rebels. So, what was, like, why was Ahsoka on the planet with Morgan Elsbeth for so long? Like, in Mando, he's given coordinates to Ahsoka by Bo-Katan, who I guess reconnected with Ahsoka at one point. I really want them to explain that. Like, how did Bo-Katan, like, find out Ahsoka was even alive? Because they say goodbye to each other on Mandalore. Then she presumably dies on the Venator that crashes mid-flight back to Coruscant. So, when did they reconnect with each other? How does Bo-Katan know she's alive? I want to know that. But either way, Bo-Katan tells Mando where to find Ahsoka, which means that she's been on the planet with Morgan Elsbeth for a long time. Like, how long was she there? Like, she could have taken her out, or taken out the bad guys on that planet a lot sooner before Mando showed up. It's really convenient that Mando showed up, like, when he did. And why did she need Mando? Like, she didn't need, like, she could have done all that on her own, but for some reason she was taking 10 years to do anything. And then, like, whatever. Mando showed up to help her out, but not really help her out, like, he didn't really do anything. But, like, what is the plot? Like, where... So, after Rebels, she trained Sabine for a bit, got too pissed off because Sabine was impatient or something, then went off to find this lady who worked for Thrawn that we've never heard about before, and then tortures her for information, gives her over to the New Republic, somehow, like, I guess learns about Luke and goes to see him, and then goes to find this map thing that leads to Thrawn, that Thrawn left behind? Question mark? Like, what is the... So, I don't... So the map, it was planted in this temple tomb Indiana Jones thing by Thrawn? Like, what are they saying? There's a map to Thrawn. Did he leave it there? Did he... Like, I don't really understand what's happening with that. Like, why is there a map to Thrawn? How is there a map to Thrawn? Like, how did anyone know where he is? How Grogu had access to Force Heal? Yeah, I wouldn't... What, like, all these Mando shows, these Mandoverse shows, hinge on these, like, aspects of plot world building that don't, like, that aren't cohesive. Like, they aren't tying them together naturally. The plot, like, the characters are just where they need to be for the sake of, like, cameos. Like, I swear to God, having Ahsoka in the Boba Fett show was such a mistake. Because it makes no sense why she's there. And this show has done nothing to explain that. And where are these other, like, okay, so if we've got Mon Mothma in the New Republic, we got Hera in there, where are these guys who, like, were, like, leaders of the rebellion? Where's Luke? Where's Han? Where's Leia? Like, where are these guys? Luke is over here training, well, he wasn't training anybody, he was only training Grogu, and then Grogu left him. So what is he doing? Like, he's just over there doing nothing on his planet that may or may not be kept a secret from the New Republic, and Han and Leia are off doing God knows what. Well, Ahsoka's the only one trying to find out where Thrawn is? Like, why? What is Ahsoka doing? Why is Sabine sulking around doing nothing while Mando, Bo-Katan, and the rest of the Mandalorians are going off to retake her homeworld? Why wasn't she there for that? Like, she was friends with Bo-Katan. They worked together in Rebels. Why would they not call on her? Why would she not answer the call to help them? What is she doing? She's just sulking around in Ezra's house. Yeah, it ruins the whole point of Star Wars. Like, you're totally correct about that. The Force healing crap was done. Wait, so which one was it that first established the Force healing thing? Was it in Rise of Skywalker or Mando? They came out really close together, right? Mando and Rise of Skywalker, like, they came out, like, around the same time. It was Mando, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It was Mando. So, like, people crap on Rise of Skywalker for, you know, ruining the stakes of Star Wars. Like, blame Mando. Mando started all this. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, Mando, I didn't even hate that show. I still don't really hate... Well, I hate Season 3. I don't really hate it. But, like, I now see that it had... Like, it had no reason to exist outside of, like... It has no reason to exist outside of setting up stuff. It was just setting up crap. Like, that's the only thing. Like, Mando Season 2, it was just like, oh, we gotta introduce Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and Boba Fett so we can make all these other shows and then turn them into the Avengers. That's how they, like, I'm dreading that movie, man. The Heir to the Empire movie or whatever it's gonna be, because, like, all they're doing is turning it into the Avengers. Like, Ahsoka, Mando, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, all these guys, Sabine, like, whoever else, they're all just the Avengers. Like, they're making Star Wars into the Avengers, and I like, it's really painful to watch, actually. It's so bad. Like... I keep saying I'm done with all these shows, right? But I keep watching them out of curiosity, because it's like, these Mando shows are just on the decline, and it's actually entertaining to see, like, them continuously, like, implode. You know what I'm saying? Like, they keep digging an even deeper hole for themselves with each new one. Like, Boba Fett wasn't very good. And then Mando Season 3 was even worse. And it made, like, Boba Fett and Mando Season 3 retroactively made the first two seasons of Mando worse. And now Ahsoka is doing nothing to actually, like, you know, improve that. Like, Ahsoka is also making it worse. Like, it's just, it's not good, man. Like, whatever they're doing with these shows. And then what's this thing with the Eye of Sauron or whatever? The Eye of Sion? They're building some portal to the unknown regions, I guess, where Thrawn is. Like, what are they doing?
We can take out those turrets, can't we, R2?
They have to make a hyperspace bridge. And, like, you know, it was funny when Balin Skull or whatever, he's like, oh, it would be a shame to kill Ahsoka. There's so few Jedi left. And I'm like, dude, there's so many Jedi left. There's, like, you and Luke and Grogu and Ezra and maybe Cal Kestis. Like, there's so many frickin' Jedi that are still alive. It's like, that line is just, like, ironically funny because he's like, there are no Jedi. It's like, dude, you're joking right now. There's so many Jedi left. And then what's her name? Morgan Elsbeth is just like so sentimental.
Take that! And this!
Micahs, there's more vulture droids than we anticipated. Let's send them out.
I don't know, man.
It's working, R2! It's working! Hope I'm doing this right! This thing's doing a lot of
It's just like
damage.
my investment in Star Wars is
I'd like to
really
see some
going
do
away.
this.
I'm losing. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, my screen is dead. Screen is off now. I guess I'm gonna have to restart the stream now because my internet's being a piece of crap. That's just great. Okay, I'm gonna restart the stream. I will be back.